Hello, in this session I'm going to show how to expose Oracle Forms business process into a web service. So first we're going to log in into our player's service manager, and now I'm going to create a web service. I will have to put the name of the web service, get customer details, demo, and here I would enter the URL of the form, the full URL of the form. I'll click on begin, and then I have to, the form would be opened, and I would have to do the business process on the form. I don't need to know how the form works on the background. I don't need to know what's the F&B, etc. I just need to know what's the business process that I want to expose and what are the input parameters and output parameters. Every field that I would enter in the form that I would set would become an input field for the web service. And as you can see here, we entered username and password. Both would become input parameters in the web service. And let's also perform action 203. We will record keystrokes, button press, menu items, etc. Now regarding the output parameters, the web service has input and output parameters. So every field that I'll click on and I focus on will become output parameter. If I want the entire form or all the fields in the form to become output parameters, I should click on this button, which is expose, which will capture all the parameters and make them output fields. Now there are fields, you see here there is a table. If I want to see all the items in the table and not just the visible one, the last action should be page down. Once I'm done, I'll click on save and exit, and that would create the web service itself. As you can see, we have here the service name, the URL of the form. We can record on one server and play back on another. We can see the input parameters, and with the default values, the recorded values, we can delete them and keep them empty, all those fields. For this demo, I'll keep those values. And we can see the output parameters. The output parameters are the ones that we selected, all the fields in the last form. Now we can see here that they are the orders, and we want them to be presented as a list because they were in the table. So I'll just click on set this checkbox, which is multi-record, and those fields are the order fields. Okay, and in the advanced field we can set the number of rows that we want to expect, 20 or more. The 20 is default, and use JSON or XML, the default response. What would be the default response? Now I created the web service, and we get here the service URL, which can be, we can call it either with get or post, and that's the rest. We can get also SOAP service, which that's the wizard of the SOAP service, and we can see the form URL. Also, we can see here the scenario view as well as the input and output parameters. There's a description of the actions that we need to create this web service. We can see here that we set input to this field, and this is the value that we set. We clicked on a button, we pressed on a button on those buttons, etc. Also, we called it an event. All the actions that we did in the scenario are described in here. Now let's test the web service. When we test it, we can use any field or any input parameters that we would want. The first test would be with the recorded one, and we can see the details of 203, customer ID 203. We can see the city, we can see the name, and all the orders of that customer. Let's enter another customer, 205, and click on test, and we can see different details for that customer. After that, I'm going to try entering a non-existing customer and see how the form would behave. and we can see that we get the form error. Query caused no records to be retrieved, and all the output fields are empty. Now I'm going to enter also non-valid characters to the ID instead of numbers. Characters, you can see here invalid number and example record. So we can see that we trigger all the validations and the events from the form.